If people do not know what is and what is so, then who does? Men, you need to raise your standards. It is far, far too disturbing to watch some of these interactions with and between men and women. And I'm not saying raise your standards in terms of like material possessions. I'm talking like character development, morals, and just who you are as a human being. The women in a man's life is a direct image of the inner masculinity of the man that she is with or around. It is a direct correlation between how the man has treated himself, because the man that has self respect is going to command that kind of respect from the people in his life. And I don't mean command as in you have to do what I say. It's not like that at all. It's more like holding a steady, firm outlook of life that is, I guess you could say, the term based in a modern online world. But having an understanding that the beginning, you must see the beginning with the end in mind. That's what it is. You must see the beginning with the end in mind, with any kind of relationship out there as well. And we have relationships with people. We have relationships with all different kinds of people. And when you're building a network, when you're building trust, when you're building integrity, how you behave is far more important than anything that you say. But when what you say matches with what you do, that's when people start to really respect and honor you. That's happened recently within the last, I would say since last May, for me, is really when I started to make like legitimate differences in my life. I've always been about self-improvement. I've always been about renewing my own mind, and I've been highly spiritual for most of my life. But it wasn't until about May last year, 2022, when I started to understand the meaning of picking up my cross each day and bearing my cross each day, and to live with the consequences of everything that I've done, and to carry out the deeds and responsibilities that I have, no matter how I felt. Because what you feel as a man specifically doesn't and shouldn't matter. And the reason for it is because, well, someone has to be the rock in the relationship. And I'm not saying that women are incapable of logic, but women are much more prone to go after their emotions and what their emotions tell them. This is another thing I've noticed about a lot of the times between men and women. Men are told to do what is right, and women are told to do what do things in accordance to what matters to them. And I thought a lot about that. Recently. It's like, yes, men are far more disposable, absolutely, in society. They have to be. They absolutely have to be. and the cream of the crop rises to the top. But but I don't I don't know if men really understand that their only power in modern society is really the ability to walk away and to raise standards. And if people aren't meeting those standards, you walk away. And then people will know that they have to be on their best behavior around you. And if they're not, they're done. There's a quote in a 50 Cent song called "I'll Still Kill." At least I think that's what it's called. Let me check real quick. What he says is, forget your enemies, but think about what your friends will do. And I thought a lot about this because, 50 Cent is he's a rapper, of course, and he's also got a lot of different kind of like businesses that he's working on and going through. And he had a really hard life. He had a really tough life growing up. Didn't have his dad around. He didn't really have a family. And the way that he developed his masculinity was by being on the street. And it wasn't until he was like 27, 28 until he actually got his first like gig as a rapper where Eminem signed him. And what I think that this song really is saying, like the "I'll Still Kill," he's not just trying to sound like a badass. He's not trying to do that. He's saying that, like, especially in that line, "Forget your enemies, think about what your friends will do." He's saying that remember that betrayal is the bottom level and the bottom circle of hell. It is the lowest of the low. Why? Because your friends sometimes will see your success and become jealous, or they'll see your striving and become envious. Yet they're the ones that don't want to do the work. They're the ones that don't want to put in the time and the effort to actually build anything that they truly want. So when you keep the end in mind, I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust people, but I'm saying that you should absolutely watch the behaviors of people. And I know this song "I'll Still Kill" is kind of it's kind of a forceful, abrupt way to say something, but I mean, the point is that to walk away is sometimes to live and let die, and just live and let it go. A lot of people don't understand how to let go. A lot of people want to hold on to that youth that they had, or the money that they had, or the mountains that they climbed, the success and the achievements that they all did and completed, and they always seem to forget that it goes away someday. The Buddhist monks, they would like make mandalas. I don't know if you guys know what mandalas are, but a mandala is let me actually pull one up and I'll show you guys. But a mandala is basically a representation of the self. And yeah, so here's a mandala. So the mandala here represents the self, and at the center is the very core of the essence of who you are and just everything that you are. And then everything around it is built. Now, this is exactly what you see in psychedelics specifically, like you see a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, yes, that is psychedelics right there. Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, so this is where I was going. So you see here, this monk here, he's got kind of like a little chisel or something there, and he's placing these like little pieces of sand down to make that colorful mandala. Guess what they do sometimes after they complete it? And this takes like thousands and thousands of hours. They just wipe it away. Like it never happened. Like all that work just gone. Why do they do that? Because it's a symbol and a representation that we all die and all things pass away, even the best of things. And I think that it's a very telling image about just life in general, really. That you can create some of the most beautiful things that this world has to offer. And yet, one day, it's going to be gone. So, men, focus on your legacy and focus on creating value in your life. I know that can seem difficult, especially if you're in like tough situations where you don't really know a lot of people, or you don't have a lot of contacts, or you don't have a lot of skills or anything. Starting from scratch has become the norm for me over the past 4 years. I always have to start from scratch from somewhere. And not being afraid to not know things has been a key factor in that. So, visualize the end result. Visualize where you want to go. And get to work, my friend. With that being said, I hope this message was useful and informative, and may peace be with you this day. Till next time.